Are you recording yourself first? Have you triple checked?
Are we being recorded too? Yeah.
This week's podcast is being recorded later than usual, on the last weekend of March. I'd blame coronavirus, but actually, yeah, let's blame coronavirus and not the fact that I didn't remember last weekend or wasn't free the rest of the weekends. Will anyone turn up? Find out now on an exciting, all-new episode of the greatest podcast recorded and edited in your bedroom. Please remember to maintain social distancing when listening to this podcast and wash your hands for 20 minutes.
Shut up too late. Get out. It's too late. 다시 한번 말해. It's too late. 내 앞에서 꺼져.
It's time once again for the podcast Puzzler segment, backed by unpopular demand. This month's Puzzler is... Why is this still a segment on the podcast, honestly? Opus 11 is an exciting time. There are some really good cards for us to talk about. But before that, let me ask you a question. Now that Final Fantasy TCG has a counter mechanic, do you think you're going to have issues carrying all those counters and dice and a deck or 4? Well, we here at the podcast understand your issues. We've partnered with a longtime friend of the podcast to bring you an exclusive deal on a product. Allow me to introduce the Deck Box counter storage box attachment for the Deck Box, a brand new smooth, painless way to transport your counters, dice, deck, and umbrellas for when it rains. Yes, the Deck Box counter storage box attachment for the Deck Box is the premium item for your Deck Box is the best way to extend your storage space without breaking the bank or having to carry counter storage boxes. So for a limited time only, when you buy the Deck Box counter storage box attachment for the Deck Box and use the promo code podcast code for the Deck Box counter storage box attachment for the Deck Box, all one word, you'll receive 5% off 30% of the total order before taxes. Act now and get yourself a Deck Box counter storage box attachment for the Deck Box and upgrade your Deck Boxes today. Time once again for TFE Talk. This month, let's talk about the set, I guess, obviously, Opus 11. And let's start with the man who will talk to you for 15 hours about the new set. It's Eureka.
Oh, why did you have to call me out like that? Wow. No, the new set is really good. This might be the best set that we've ever had, actually. Most of the legends are good, at least playable, but most of them are good or have like a very specific niche. I think the unarguably worst two are like Yuna and Tifa. Everything else I've seen played competitive, and I've actually seen those play competitive too, but everything else a lot more. It's a very good set.
It feels real bad for the Tifa fanboys, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I don't know why Zengen has that restriction that makes this so this doesn't have haste. Like, I feel like they could have just let it happen and it wouldn't have been a problem.
It's because the original Tifa 5CP was OP, right? That's not allowed to have haste.
The Opus 2 Tifa? Oh, man. They could have just reduced the cost of this while it's on the field by 1. Like, the cost to play it to the field is reduced by 1, and its cost is treated as 4 or whatever, then it would get haste from saying it. Like, I feel like that just would have been an obvious way to keep the card buffed.
Just make it straight 4 cost. It's fine.
Make it a 4, but it costs 5 unless you have Cloud, right? When this enters, pay 1.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, 6. There you go.
I would just make it 4. Seems fine. Like, you're gonna be playing Cloud anyway.
You're gonna play it 4, it's gonna be 8, right? Because it's got the cost reduction from Cloud as well. But that's fine, yeah.
So it's probably safe to say that Japan have learned a thing or two from WoF last set, because there's a load of good tribals.
It kind of seems like they want to push like packages into decks, like things that require a very high commitment to the deck to really get full power. Like Braska's Final Aeon is very much like when you use it for the 10k, you have to commit to like a full summoner deck. You don't just get to like splash a few cards and benefit from it like the way that we used to see some of the power cards at the time be, like Diablos, where Alcid or like Locke, you didn't really have to commit a whole lot of slots. It just kind of fell into a lot of stuff. Now they really make you commit to get the most powerful effects.
Yeah, it feels especially true with all the legends this set. Maybe apart from Kujo's just kind of good in everything, but like a lot of the other legends, you really have to commit a lot of.
Yeah, in terms of like straightforward cards, Kujo is like the legend of the set for sure, right? It's very straightforward, powerful. It has an ETB that we're always interested in, and it's on curve. So
yeah, I think Shadow's there too, but maybe less.
Yeah, Shadow's a little less straightforward than Kujo, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Shadow probably finds his way in most fire decks as well.
Yeah,
still
there's a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit more with the you kind of have to run enough 2CP backups to try to benefit from his effect most of the time, even though just searching for a backup is good enough for me. And like for a lot of there are a lot of players like me who will do like Kafka or whatever, who will go out of their way to play cards to get them to backups faster. And Shadow doesn't really require you to play 2CPs to fulfill that, but it definitely helps, right? So it kind of changes your deck building a bit.
Yeah, it does. And if it doesn't, it changes your early patterns because you tend to hold a 2CP, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it can work out a lot of the time. Very cool card.
Yeah. The card that I underrated the most in my Legend review was RNA for sure. It's pretty good. I don't know about insane just because the pool of 2CP Lightning forwards is not great, but like RNA Sakura being better Layla Viking a lot of the time is kind of nuts, and it can make some crazy lethal turns.
Yeah, it's a little sad that they're gonna like restrict Lightning 2-drops from here on out too. Means a shove restrictor will never be a real deck. Feels sad, man. Feels sad.
Are we gonna go through like 5 sets of Gimp Lightning forwards?
Gimp's 2-drops? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we still have Gimp's Water Summon, so probably.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay. RNA already has enough targets, depending on what deck you're playing, probably.
I kind of wish there was one more, like, just okay, like, good target, because a lot of the time, you're just getting, like, a 5CP vanilla. Like, a lot of the time, that's kind of not high. It'd be nice to have, like, a 6CP vanilla, or, like, a 6CP that can generate value later. Right now, there's just, like... Or sorry, a 6K that generates value later or something. Yeah, one more like neutral target would be nice. Like Glauca obviously works in mono lightning, but when you get into dual color, it becomes a little less appealing. Yeah, and even in mono lightning, getting back to Glauca, like when you're on the damage 3 and you don't have things to go into immediately, and the Glauca just dies to random 5K removal is really bad. I guess we could talk about some of like the primary archetypes that have crept out. I don't know if there's anybody wants to keep off the table. We could maybe talk about that real quick and then cut it out.
Nothing hidden. I don't care.
No events.
No events.
No events.
Yeah, I don't care either. I don't care either.
It's whatever, right? Like, and even if we think decks are really good now, they can't. They might not be in a couple months, right? Like, it's whatever.
I have a really secret deck.
Okay. Well, apart from Yo's deck, we'll talk about all the rest, right?
Keep it in your back pocket until 2021, it'll be alright.
Yeah.
Yo's gonna be like, check out this Opus 11 deck, boys.
I think the place where everyone wanted to start this set was FFTA, right?
Yeah, that's what I played a lot of. Yeah. Day one, I played like 50 games of that deck.
Day one, Octagon was like flooded with FFTA. Everybody wanted to play it. It's pretty good. I don't know about insane. It's like it's not insane. It has a lot of good options, and if a meta is defined, like I'm sure that this will be a part of it at some point. I don't know if it'll be like WAF was last set though, where it was just like destroying everything for the whole set. Yeah, no, it's not that good. Yeah, but I think it is really good. I think if we had a TA searcher, like a 3-drop searcher, it would like push it over the line a bit. Yeah, it's kind of hard to find Ritz at the moment, which is kind of rough. Yeah, having to like search for Meath with Nourish and then search for Ritz with the Meath and discarding like a Y'shtola or a Zidane to like get it, or a Citra to get it going is really, really detrimental to the consistency of Marsh. Yeah, finding the Ritz is the part that sucks in the deck for sure. If we could get Ritz out on like turn 2 or 3 more consistently, the deck would I think it would be nuts, right? It's so good, but it's so hard to get to the Ritz exactly where we want it. I'm not sure we're there just yet. Yeah, even if there's just like a generic wind searcher, like I think that's kind of why they didn't make a generic wind searcher, or like part of the reason at least why they didn't make a generic wind searcher. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of arguments in wind as to why there shouldn't be one, right? Like Zidane, Y'shtola, whatever. Yeah, well, and like wind already has Fiona, and yeah. There's like a lot of like Fiona and Ritz there. Yeah, or Zidane. Can you imagine searching 3CP Zidane without water? Yeah, it'd be frustrating. Yeah, so FFT is pretty good. The deck is really dumb, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be super oppressive for the time being, unless there's like something that I'm not seeing. I wouldn't be surprised if like bait stick removal for Ritz became more common. People putting in just like Rama or whatever to kill it. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that kills Ritz, incidentally, is also very good against all of the 6 decks, which are probably like the next thing that we would talk about on archetypes.
Yeah, definitely.
Water Ice 6 for sure. Yeah, Water Ice, Fire Water 6.
package. Like, I guess Fire Water isn't necessarily a 6 deck because it's mostly just Celeste and Shadow. but
don't leave Sabin out in the cold.
No, something's good, but like
it's nothing to do
like,
with being 6 characters, though, right? Like, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like nothing in that deck cares about being category 6. It just happens to be that they are.
Well, yeah, getting haste off Interceptor is probably
true.
Yeah. But all 3 of those decks all very acceptable out the window or right out the gates of the set.
I think Water Ice FF6 is pretty insane, to be honest. I'm not sure what the best build is yet, but
it's so flexible.
The Water Ice one is very flexible, so I think it's very good when you have like a solid read on the meta. It's much less like straightforward and proactive than the other 2 variants.
It's not Fire Ice, right? Yeah. Fire Ice, you build your deck, and you're like, okay, now you have to build around me, sort of thing, right? Whereas, Water Ice, you need to know what you're
Fire
playing.
Ice and Fire Water, you can just kind of play your game. They're very like straightforward, aggressive synergies. You want to like hasten the Celeste, hasten the Lock, hasten the. If you're in Water, you can hasten the Zidane or whatever. Right? It's very straightforward. You're gonna get advantage just by playing the deck the way that the deck was meant to be played. In Water Ice, it's kind of a lot less straightforward. Like, you still want to play Lock and you still want to play Celeste, but like your removal is very awkward compared to the other 2 because you like play Zalera or like the 1-drop Zalera or something. So you kind of have to like build around whatever the meta is going to be.
Yeah, I can agree on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if more removal comes out. Yeah, exactly. For those sort of decks and for FFTA as well, like summon removal.
See, I don't know how far you get against. And just going back to tactics, right? And tactics are bad. I don't know how far removal actually gets you because it just keeps coming back. And if you remove it, they kind of have more things to do with their CP. I think just the deck running out of things to do is kind of what beats it.
You can just kind of keep March on the field, though, to be honest. He doesn't really do anything.
Yeah,
if they play March Ritz and you kill the Ritz, you can leave March there until you're set up to a point where Ritz doesn't kill you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there is other games where they just top deck another Ritz and you're like, well, it's fucking wasting my time. But that's the same with Lock, right? It's the same with Celeste.
It just kind of feels like Zalera or whatever is good, efficient way to kill Ritz rather than it's like the CP buff that you needed to get back into the game after they played another rack up off of their Ritz reactivate or whatever. And then also having the Umaro to put Ritz back on the bottom actually hurts TA a lot.
Yeah,
because they have to go find the Ritz again. It can be pretty detrimental in the early game when you get the Mog 6 combo, draw 2, and then play the Umaro for 5. Because they don't get to kill the Mog 6 until at least the turn after, and they usually have to use inefficient removal, like Ifrit or whatever for it. Yeah, it's not like insanely efficient to Zalera and keep the Ritz off the board, but I would say like it has really good options. Also, Minmu is very good against the deck because they don't get to Pandemonium, Fina.
They also play Q Casper most of the time, though. I mean, because it's another FFC backup and it's fine.
Yeah, but it's like another additional check into the
sure.
That they have to fill.
Yeah, it's pretty hard because you definitely prioritize the Myth just so you can get your card.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends if you know what they're playing, I guess, right? Like, if you know they're playing Mono Water with, like, Rosa and Minwu, you probably prioritize the True Chaspel, but...
Yeah.
A lot of the time, you kind of... I actually felt a lot of the time I had to go for a Wall Trail as well. If I open, like, a Black Mage, I couldn't justify, like, going to get the Kuchaspel or sometimes even the Myth if I had, like, 2 fire backups in my hand and North Shell. I go get the Wall Trail because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to flood myself on fire backups in that deck. I guess we could talk about the Summoners deck, too. All 7,000 of them.
Yeah, well, Bruska's real cool. I was wrong about that card.
No. Still a shit
is...
forward to play. Don't worry about it. It's very good as a discard for 10k, though.
Every time I've played it, I've actually won.
Yeah, I won every time I played it. But I think that's kind of like it speaks for itself. Like, if you have the chance to play it, you probably win the game.
Yeah, because I've played against a lot of Mono Fire players, and they play that, and then I win. So
yeah, that's different.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't think it's a good card outside of a Summoner's deck.
Oh, I totally agreed. Yeah, but sometimes it's your only forward when you're playing.
Yeah, sure.
It feels pretty good.
Yeah, there's like a lot of ways to play the Summoner's deck. You can play it like Mono Water with like mostly ice stuff, or sorry, mostly like random summons in like mono water with like light stuff, and then summons that are supported by like Rydia, or cheap summons that are supported by 3-cost Rydia, or you can play it like mono Earth style with the same sort of thing, and then Sybil in the Rydia 5. Or if you don't like to play Rydia 5, you can just play Garnet and other assorted summons, and you don't have to play like, you don't have to rely on Raiden Bahamut or whatever. I've had the most success with like a mostly mono water shell, and then like splashing earth for Tyro and one Shantoto. But the deck really needs Kusith to function. So like you can't just go like straight mono water. I think it felt really bad to not have Kusith for Braska's Final Aeon, because that card is like the only thing that carries you to a point to winning the game most of the time.
The interesting thing is, like, it's one of the decks that are vulnerable to Kadaj, but can actually answer it really well.
Yeah, that's true. So, like, yeah, Kadaj will often try to prioritize your summons in the deck, because that's, like, the most people's reaction, and I think that's actually, like, a mistake. Most of the time you want to be taking the Braska's Final Aeon out of the break zone, because that's how you're going to lose the game. If they have it in hand, you don't get the option, like, obviously you want to take whatever summons are left in there, but Braska's Final Aeon kind of carries that archetype really hard. I've also had a lot of difficulty choosing between, like, how to arrange my lights, because you want to play Light Yuna and Citra. So I tried like Starter Yuna over Light Yuna, and they're kind of comparable. I think Light Yuna is a little bit better, but you don't have to like... obviously, you get to play like 3 Citra, and you don't have to worry about breaking lights. So Starter Yuna has had more like staying power, in my opinion. I didn't have to worry about switching over to a Cosmos later so that I could be playing Citra and keeping my Yuna L on the field, and that was like a really big boon for the deck for me.
The little bit that I found while playing it was Light Yuna was good because it kept coming back to go along with the Unaleska. Yeah. Like, a lot of times people won't kill the Unaleska because it's like a bit awkward to kill an AK that doesn't really do anything. Obviously, it reduces the summons, but yeah, getting Light Yuna back every turn is nice for that.
Yeah, I think it's really weird because if there's like a Light Yuna, a Unaleska, and a Garnet on the field, most people will like kill the in order Garnet and then Yuna and then Unaleska, and I think it's like always wrong. I think you should always kill the Unaleska probably, because Unaleska is nuts. Like that card is insane. Yeah. I would be very surprised if Unaleska did not become like more and more broken as time goes on, unless obviously we get another way to reduce our summons by insane numbers. But like casting Diab for like 1 or 2 or even 3, to be honest, like any amount that's less than 5 is disgusting. It's totally insane. Casting Mist Dragon for 1, casting Kusith for 1, like it's all really nuts. And Unaleska really makes like that deck function.
The 5 CP Rydia stuff gets really interesting too, because it's one of the few decks where you can order your, like, the cards you put on the bottom, and that ends up really mattering. Like, in most games.
Yeah. It's the first time
it's a fun way to play.
Yeah. It's the first time I've ever used Rydia's cycle effects just to get to like cards I put back on the bottom faster. Like you can kind of remember when you use Rydia 5, you can kind of like remember what you revealed in chunks. You have to shuffle them and put them back on the bottom, but you remember like what you revealed in chunks and what you stacked with the Unaleska. So you can actually like leave like 3 CP up or whatever for summons, and then when your opponent makes a passive play and passes, you can cycle like 3 with the Rydia effect, and sometimes you hit, Mist Dragon or Kusith or Leviathan, but even when you don't, you get to put the 3 back on the bottom and get closer to the stack, and so you can like pretty reliably know when your Rydia is going to hit in the later stages of the game. It's kind of weird, not gonna lie, because the deck doesn't actually search a lot after Eiko and Tyro.
Yeah, no, it doesn't at all, and that's usually your Light Yuna and a Unaleska, sometimes a Rydia, for me, personally.
Yeah, there's a lot to go into with that deck, and there's no way that like whatever list that we have now, I highly doubt that like in a month or 2, that's what the list will look like, because the deck is just going to keep getting more and more efficient, I think. I just don't know how to do it any more than I have without my brain exploding. Because the deck is really hard to build. You always give up a lot whenever you sacrifice 1 slot.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. There'll be a better Summoners deck, but so far what you've built is pretty good. Let's talk about Realm. That card's really good. Legend, right?
Legend, yeah.
They've
That
done
card
a
is-
2-cost Porum again. Accidentally printed a Water Legend as a rare or common.
Yeah, Realm's fucking
Realm
sick
is-
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, Realm is sick.
Get Skeleton.
There's just so many
That's
choices for the 1s and the 2s. Like, I was surprised when I went to build a Realm deck. I'm like, I don't know what colors I want, because there's a lot of 1s and 2s that I like think could be good, right? You can go Unsaganashi, You can go more great. You can get like dragon and stuff. If you're playing a CC deck, you can get jellyfish, which is cool. There's just a lot of options for it. You can get cactuar, you can get layak, you can get like goblin.
You can get bomb for Barthandelus.
You can get bomb for Barthandelus. You can get Sahuagin Chief in mono. I tried mono water with Realm. It's kind of cool.
Sahuagin Chief sucks.
It does, but if you bring it out with Realm, it's not as bad.
Yeah. If you get it with Realm, it's not as bad, but that card sucks.
Honestly, so much of those 1 and 2 CP monsters suck, but did you know that the Dendrobium's a card? Like, if you got a Realm and you want to draw a card, just get the Dendrobium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I want to play Lancer unit over that. I'd rather like freeze their shit and make them discard. It's the same slot. 2 CP ice. Anyway, Realm's real fucking sick, and you can put in like a bunch of different decks. I've been playing an FFCC, and I tried the Wind Lightning one, obviously. Realm carries a lot. It's good.
Dude, when you're playing like a card like Realm, colors like don't matter a lot of the time. Like, cause you play it off of Moogle, you play it off of Tyro, you play it off of Toto, you play it off of Civil. Earth can play anything, obviously, but like there's so many ways to like cheat the Realm in when you don't even play like a good amount of water. It's kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's I don't. It probably just goes in everything that can play it. It's that good, but it's also a lot of slots, so it's really hard.
It's a ton of slots, yeah.
Have you had a tough time knowing which new cards are good in a set? Well, worry no more. Introducing Is Card Good? The hotline. You call one of our specially trained card game analysts, tell them the card you want to know if it's good or not, then they'll tell you if it is or isn't. Additionally, you can be even more specific. Maybe you're wondering if a certain card would work in your ice/fire/water/wind summoner fun deck that you built yourself. Well, they can tell you that information too. Our rates are really low compared to going on a holiday to Disneyland, Florida with a family of 50, so call today. Alright, it's the end of the podcast again. And on this podcast, as I actually will remember every single person that's on the podcast this time for sure, we have me, Esfer, Eureka, and 10. Alright, that's everybody that was on the podcast. Nobody else has been missed. And it's time once again to sign off. Yeah.
Nah, nothing.
Yes? Is
Nah,
something
nothing.
wrong,
Nah,
Nado?
it's fine.
No?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
fine.
don't think so. It's time once again to sign off with our signature iconic saying, we check it. Bye.
Lightning got some good cards.
Lightning got some weird cards too.
Just ignore all the heroics. It's fine. It's not a problem.
I hate Lightning.
Why are you collecting all the FF13 cards then? Hey!
How much longer are we going? Yo, how long are we recording for today? 3 hours? 4 hours?
He fell asleep.
About 12 hours. I'm just playing Animal Crossing, alright? Get off my back.
I want you to know that literally 2 people that were now dead locals call me Nado now because of you. So I want to.
Nado.
Is that not the that's the
Sharknado.
canon spelling, right?
I'd like to sue.
Sharknado.
Yeah, that's how you say that, right? Yeah. Look out.
Sharknado.
Cutting down the hatches, guys. It's a
Nado.
pretty mean tornado coming.
Listen, what's worse? Catching coronavirus or listening to the podcast? I mean, it's obviously listening to the podcast. But you got nothing else to do.